Hello and a very good evening. A landmark decision by the High Court today on the rights of Indigenous villagers in the new territories. The court ruled that the male villagers under the government's small house policy can only build their homes on farmland owned by them, but not on government land. Caleb Long has our top story.
Kwok Chakin, better known as the king of judicial reviews, appeared happy outside the High Court building. That's after the court ruled partially in his favor in his challenge against the legality of the small house policy. First, let's take a look at the argument put forward by Kwok and social worker Hendrik Loy, another applicant of the judicial review. The two argued that the policy, which the court referred to as the Ding rights, is unconstitutional. They said the policy discriminates against females, indigenous villagers, and people of non-indigenous status. But the court decided that the central issue is whether the law is constitutional and lawful under Article 40 of the Basic Law. In his judgment, Justice Anderson Chow stated that under Article 40, the Ding rights are protected as the lawful traditional right and interests of the indigenous habitants. But such rights are only legal in the form of free building license, but not private treaty grant or exchange. With free building licenses, indigenous inhabitants are allowed to build village-type houses on their own farmland. The policy of granting such licenses to villagers began in about 1906 and has since remained in force, even when restrictions over the location and size of such buildings were implemented in 1972 under the government's small house policy. But the government has absolute control and discretion to grant such licenses. However, the court decided that the right does not include land acquired by the private treaty grant, where indigenous villagers bought government land at a concessionary premium. The same goes for land acquired through exchanges, where landowners switch plots with the government, also at a concessionary premium. The court's ruling will not take effect until 6 months later in view of the importance of the matter and the likelihood of an appeal. Caleb